And we're live. Hey, what's up, people? And welcome to the 20th episode of the Game Dosage Podcast with Mr. Intergalactic Menace here, Invader. And hey, obviously there's been a change of scenery for the show as Attack the Glitcher wasn't able to join us tonight. He's kind of glitched at the moment. But hey, we've got a good lineup, some solid topics going on, as well as the same stellar cast. Speaking of which, hey, let's get some intros rolling. First up, we've got. Oh wait, did you hear that? Drip, drip, drip. It's the lady who never has a puddle controversy. The moist Miss Primal Eve. How you doing, Primal?
I'm doing really good. I hope you guys all followed my trail here because it's extra moist and slippery tonight. I am absolutely excited about the topics we have, and I'm really glad to be here with everybody. Yes, we are missing Jago and Glitcher, so hopefully we can, keep it together without them, but I'm sure we will. And I'm really excited, and you guys will find out why. But here, go on.
Oh boy, she can't contain herself. All right, yeah, Jago's dealing with some of the hurricane cleanup back there. Hopefully, everything's good. All right, next up, we've got the man who always makes an explosive entrance, the big fella, the big kahuna, Mr. Noof Nukem.
Boom, boom, kaboom. It's Noof in the room. Welcome to the Game Dosage Podcast. It's another Monday and another awesome panel. Yes, a few people are missing. And what's up with that? People have been in and out of this podcast lately like a new guy at a porno exhibition. Like, what is going on? Stability, people. Stability. No, it's going to be a good show. Hang on. We got some deep topics to get into. That's right. We are going to moist the fuck out of this room tonight. And hang on to your pantyhose. We're ready to go.
All right, I'm loving the energy there, Noof, especially, getting some puddle action going on there at the end. All right, so next up, we got the man that always seems to rise from his grave for this show, the man who's always stiff, Mr. Stinkin' Corpse.
Yep, Boner Man 69. Someone's got to keep it hard, so... yeah, man, it's another Monday. I didn't realize we were already up to 20 episodes. So that's nice. I haven't been keeping count, but yeah, man, another Monday, another Game Dosage podcast with all my favorite people on this panel, and glad to start talking some games and start talking some shit.
Oh, of course. Very beautiful, very eloquent, and course, the other guy here, our favorite Mega Man addict, the robotic Red Menace, Mr. Proto Foxy. How you doing, bud?
Oh man, I love that. We need to stick with that for like ever now. It's amazing.
All right.
Hey man, I'm super excited. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I can't wait to tear into everything. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. And now we're splashing all over the place. Let's get it going with episode 20.
All right, Foxy the pop star. I can get. All right, you need to do an intro for us, man.
Fox that rocks.
There it is.
Hey, there we go. And before I forget, just remember that we're doing a giveaway, guys, for a console of your choice once we hit 300 live viewers. So, share this link out. And hey, who doesn't want a console of their choice? Who doesn't want free stuff, right? Shit. So share it and get the word out.
I want free stuff.
Exactly. Who doesn't, right? So, send it out and send some love to the show. So, all right. So for our first topic, a few days ago, it was revealed that during a Nintendo Direct, that a slew of older Final Fantasy titles would be making their way to both Nintendo Switch and Xbox One in the next year or so. About 6 out of the 8 will be on the Xbox, while for the Switch and PlayStation 4, they'll get all of them. We've got just some headlines as Final Fantasy X, 10 2 HD remasters, 7, 9, and the rest pretty much. Although I think 8 is kind of excluded there. And I'm also kind of curious as to why Crystal Chronicles Remastered and the Chocobo Mystery Dungeon are omitted from the Xbox, but who knows, they might have some reasons there. But panel, what are your thoughts on this announcement? Starting with Miss Primal Eve. Primal, what do you make of this announcement? How are you feeling?
This is such a big deal. This is such a huge deal to me. I am a major, gigantic I'm like, I'm so excited. I am like, this is a big deal for me. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I named my daughter Eris after Final Fantasy VII. I have Moogles on me. I live and breathe Final Fantasy since day one. I played them all 100 million times. When I found out that this was happening, I almost spit, but spitters are quitters, right? So I didn't do that.
Spit is quitting.
But to have this come onto the Xbox is a really big deal, not just for me as a fan, but for people who missed out on this because they never had a PlayStation or because they never had it on PC either, because it is available through Steam. Final Fantasy is a huge influence on RPGs today and turn-based games as well, and just big moments in histories with villains and having attachments to characters, and just with the whole thing with Eris and what happened to her in 7, or Aerith if you want to use the correct term, but it's always going to be Eris to me. To have it be also, like you said, it was Crystal Chronicles that is not coming to Xbox. That originally was out on the GameCube. And I kind of understand it because it was a Nintendo. It wasn't even Sony. It was just pure Nintendo that had that game. So I can kind of see why that may not be on the Xbox, but having 7, 9, 10, 10-2, and 12, that's a huge thing. And I'm hoping that it'll prepare us for more. The fact that they didn't put in 8 kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because I absolutely loved that story. I love the whole futuristic aspect of it. The music to it was awesome. The battles were awesome. It also brought in a whole new draw system with magic into Final Fantasy, and some people didn't like it. I don't really care. And what this kind of gives me hope for is Kingdom Hearts. If they are willing to put these games in, I'm kind of hoping that they'll do 1 and 2 so that other people can actually understand when 3 comes out, the actual background story of it. A lot of people missed it, and it's a shame. I'm so excited. I could probably talk about this for hours, but I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. When I saw this, I lost my mind. I started texting people who probably didn't have consoles, had no idea what the fuck I was talking about, but I didn't care because the whole world needed
just to tell somebody,
right? Like I had to like let it out. But this is great, and it's kind of like I don't want to say it's kind of like a negative thing towards Sony, because I'm sure a lot of them were like, you can only get these Final Fantasies here. Not anymore. And that's a good thing, because I think everybody should be able to experience these games that they may or may not have missed.
You'll be phoning up her friends like, Final Fantasy's coming to Xbox. Her friends are like, is that like a 50 Shades of Grey type thing?
I could almost see Primal even throwing up smoke signals at one point, just saying Final Fantasy coming to Xbox, just letting the entire planet know.
It's so ridiculous. Like back when I worked at GameStop, I was so like protective over these games that I would see some little kid kind of like throw like 8 around, and it would piss me off. So what I would do is whenever I got my paycheck, I bought every single Final Fantasy game that we had so that no one else could actually take it and abuse it. It was just this weird thing I had.
Wow.
So I had like 7 or 8 copies.
That's kind of weird.
And everybody that is a little weird.
Yeah,
that's because back in the day it was hard to get all these games on disc. We didn't have it be available to download. So it's like if one little scratch happened, there'd be that CG cutscene that would just get stuck and you couldn't finish the game.
Oh yeah, on the old PlayStation discs. Yeah, man.
And everybody knew I love Final Fantasy. Guys would come up and they would try and hit on me, and they'd be like, "Hey, why don't you tell me your Final Fantasy?" Or, "Hey, can I be your Final Fantasy?" And it's just horrible cheesiness. But yeah, it was just, yes, okay. Someone else can take it now.
Oh wow, I think
she's spent.
My name is Cloud, and haven't you heard about the power of the cloud?
Got a lightning storm going on.
Oh dear.
All right, Stinky Baby, what are your thoughts?
I think that's cool. I don't know how I could follow up what Primal just went through, but for those people that didn't have PlayStation or something, now they can play these games. Yeah, maybe 8, who knows later on, maybe 8 will eventually make its way. It just kind of seems odd how they kind of skipped over that. But me, myself, I wasn't really into playing those games. I had a buddy of mine that I watched him play the shit out of Final Fantasy VII. So I used to just go over there and just watch him play it. And I mean, I liked what I saw. It was I just never myself playing it, got into it. But that's awesome, and it's just, and like Primal said, maybe like the Kingdom Hearts thing, it would be cool if, somewhere down the road, they bundle Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And, now these people can, play these games that, they were restricted to one console. Now it's spread out. Everyone can, for the most part, play them. Hey, it's nothing wrong with that.
No, and you are absolutely correct, my friend, and it's nice to have the options on Xbox for sure. Let's see, Mr. Proto Foxy Red Menace, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a great thing. It's nice to see that these titles are finally kind of leaving home, so to speak, off the Sony platforms and going to the other consoles, and seeing that Square Enix is spreading the love a bit. I mean, I'm actually with Primal. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VIII, so to see its omission, current omission, is kind of odd to me. But then again, it's always more kind of derided as like the black sheep of the series for some reason or another. I never understood that. But then again, people held Final Fantasy VII in such high regards, to follow that up with anything that wasn't going to be some kind of direct tie-in follow-up was always destined to kind of get harsher criticism anyway. But I enjoyed these titles back when they were first released. I still do. I still have 7, 8, 9, and 10. I never got 10 too, but I did play it and I enjoyed them. So it's nice to see that they're coming to the next gen, or current gen now. I always say next gen, just that's showing my age at this point. But the current stuff, and getting spread around to Nintendo and Xbox, and it's great to see that these these other console owners that may not necessarily have a PS4 or any PlayStation console in general to enjoy these titles, actually getting a chance to enjoy them. And maybe it will open the doors for like Kingdom Hearts to go multi-plat that way too. It is kind of odd to see Nintendo only getting certain titles, but then again, like Primal had said with like Crystal Chronicles being that was like Nintendo exclusive, I can kind of see it. But at this point, it was exclusive to the GameCube, and all that stuff is so, we're so far away from that now. I wouldn't understand it, but maybe again, that's in the pipeline. Who knows? But it's great. It's great to see that Square Enix is doing this.
Absolutely. It's very interesting, like just finding out about this on a random Nintendo Direct, and it's just like, oh, it's coming to Nintendo Switch. Oh, it's coming to Xbox. Like, what a random way. It's such a huge announcement too. It boggles my mind. But
yeah, you would think they would have had it for one of the bigger, gaming cons or whatever. But yeah, like,
well,
I mean, pretty crazy.
It is. All right. And Mr. Noof Nukem, how do you feel about this? Do you even like Final Fantasy?
Well, that's great that you ask and you put it that way, because personally, I'm not a huge fan, never did really get into those, because I'm just not a huge JRPG fan, period, especially the turn-based stuff. So, let's just say my boner meter didn't move a whole lot when I saw this announcement, but I think it's great news. It is great news for all console owners. It's especially good news if you're an Xbox or Nintendo owner, simply because many of the games announced in its release were never on a Nintendo or Xbox platform, period. Like the diehard PlayStation guys, sure, they're probably out there, salivating at the bit. But the thing is, a lot of the PlayStation guys, especially if you're strictly PlayStation, you probably played and beat many of these games, and maybe your excitement level is not as high as for, say, Xbox gamers, Nintendo Switch. They've never, owners of those consoles have never really had a chance to probably ever play these games. So they're kind of old games with their new games, new coat of paint. Now, as far as certain games like Crystal Chronicles, well, I mean, that was, that's not really one of the hardcore Final Fantasy games. It's a good game in its own right, but it was obviously made with an art style and I guess a simplified control scheme to appeal to the Nintendo masses at the time. And that's the thing, right? Like, Nintendo's audience is still generally younger than the people that generally play PlayStation and Xbox all day long. So, you know, it makes sense for them to bring out different titles for the GameCube or the Switch that just makes sense on a bunch of different levels. So I think it's great news overall, even though, like I said, I'm not overly excited. There is a couple of titles in there that I might actually, you know, give a shake at right now. I've never played Final Fantasy VII, which is considered one of the all-time greats, and maybe I'll go back and check this game out when it finally comes out. But I mean, overall, it's just a good feel-good news story for gamers and especially fans of Final Fantasy and those looking to get back into the series. I'm actually tempted to download the right now for my Switch. I'm probably going to pick up that what do you call it? The Final Fantasy 15 Pocket HD or whatever the hell they call it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking that'd be a great little game to take on the road, like the simplified art style of that game. And I actually do like Final Fantasy 15. I have it on my Xbox One, and I think it's a pretty cool game. It's the first one that I've really sunk my teeth into, but I'm not very far into it yet. But I kind of like it. So yeah, I think it's good news, man. There's not much else you can say about it, and kudos to Square Enix. And you know what? Kudos to Phil Spencer, who might have had. I don't know this for sure. But I mean, is there any coincidence, guys, that ever since Phil made his last trip to Japan, have you guys all noticed an influx of JRPGs and Japanese-based titles have been coming to Xbox? I mean, that, you know, was a pretty big announcement at E3 when Far Cry, or was it not Far Cry, but Devil May Cry was announced on an Xbox stage. So I think Phil has got something rolling somewhere that wasn't done with previous board members, because I just don't think there's a coincidence there.
No, exactly. I think you bring up a good point. I think Phil has definitely had a hand in that, especially with the number of titles too. Even like 6 out of 8. That's a lot of games coming, even if they are older. Like it's more than welcome to have like this all the older parts of Final Fantasy coming to the Xbox ecosystem. Like it benefits the fan base, so why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
And honestly, like as you said, Noof, like I've dabbled in a few Final Fantasies. I'm in the middle of playing 15 right now. I'm really enjoying it, maybe because it's more action oriented, but it's a beautiful game. I'm liking it, and it seems like a really cool game. I know a lot of people that are loving it, and yeah, no, this is good. This is good for gamers, for the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and so on. It benefits everybody. All right, so moving on. So last week, I guess the end of last week, Shadow of the Tomb Raider released. And it debuted on number 2, I think, on the UK retail charts. I think Spider-Man was still first. And I've seen a whole bunch of reviews for this game. Mostly, well, there have been kind of mixed reviews on it. And I've seen some big outlets just questioning certain aspects of the game, or they're not huge on it. And at the same time, you know, I've been on Twitter, I've been on YouTube, and people seem to be loving this game. I mean, just the general fan base. I see all kinds of screenshots being shared with everybody, and people seem really engrossed with this game. And so I know a few of you have played this. So, panel, what are your thoughts on the game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Who's played it? How is it? And do you think this game is just getting a bad rep online? So let's see. I'll start with Mr. Stinking Corpse, Stinky Baby. Have you been playing this?
Oh yeah, yeah. That the day I got it last week, I got the deluxe steelbook, the Croft edition or whatever the hell it's called. Yeah. Once I didn't intend on really starting it up after it installed, but I was like, yeah, what the hell? Let me just check it out. And before I knew it, it was like 4 or 5 hours later. I'm like, holy shit, you know, and. It is really, I am really enjoying the game. And like you said, you know, on Twitter, you know, there's all kinds of people that are putting pictures up. And I know Supersonic's not in the chat, but if anyone has a code, please give it to him.
Oh, he wants to mooch it. Oh yes.
Yeah. He's tweeting everybody, Betty White, you know, Lady Gaga. Everybody's trying to get him or buy the game for him. So if you would, somebody just do it, because I'm tired of seeing it on Twitter. And he would appreciate it. But yes, the game's great. Yeah, you know, early on there was the kind of the mixed reviews or whatever. I don't understand what that was all about still. But me personally, I think the game looks great. It plays great. The story's fine. You know, I don't have any problems with it. So, you know, and everyone, you know, a lot of people are enjoying it now. Just now looking at the just kind of first kind of reviews that kind of popped up. You know, IGN still, you know, is 9, and you know, it's got like an 81 Metacritic, and GameSpot's got, you know, 8 out of 10. So, shit. I mean, I don't see where all the bad talk is. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's kind of puzzling to me. I mean, I don't have it in my hands. I haven't played it, so it's hard for me to say. But I see everybody sharing this, and for the most part, people are talking pretty good things about the game. And I see the pictures; it looks gorgeous. And Noof, have you been playing it at all? Or?
Well, absolutely. My most anticipated game of the year. You can damn well bet your ass I picked it up the moment I could. Obviously, I get the physical copy, so I didn't get to play it as early as some people. I know it kind of sucks, but hey, I have no regrets. I got the disc, I popped it in, installed it, playing it, and it's amazing. And you know, one of the things I really got to give credit to, not only Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, but it's how they've kept this franchise over the course of 3 games. You know, it's one of the knocks, I guess, that some people are giving it, but to me, it's one of the positives is that the game does not feel drastically different from the first to the third. Only they've improved on aspects. They keep making the games bigger. And in this one, they delivered one of the things that were probably 2 of the biggest gripes you probably heard from the community over the course of the first 2 games was that there wasn't enough tomb raiding. You know, she become more of a bit of a combat specialist and that sort of thing. But in this one, they've scaled back the amount of large scale battles. In this one, they make you think about your encounters a little differently. There's a lot more swimming elements in this game now, which are really, really cool, actually. By the way, don't want to spoil too much, but trust me, if you played it or have been watching people play it, it's really, really cool. And I love the storyline in this one. The graphics look amazing. Somehow they keep edging it. And it's not like drastic night and day difference, but it still looks as good, if not better, than the previous one, Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's a pretty massive game. I mean, I don't know how many hours in already, and I'm virtually nowhere. It feels like, you know, love the upgrades. Lara looks and plays better than ever. It's just, this is a really cool, well done game, in my opinion. And anyone that's scoring this thing like 6 or 7, I don't understand. Like, were you not a fan of the last 2? Because if you weren't a fan of the last 2, you shouldn't even be reviewing this one, period. That's the first thing I'll tell you. And if you reviewed the last 2 and you really liked them a lot, then how the fuck did you not like this one? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. But like, you play some games, like let's take Halo, for example, right? Like Halo 1 to Halo 2 to Halo 3. All of those games felt and looked drastically different. Mind you, they all sort of came out on different gens of hardware, which probably had a lot to do with that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, some sequels, they really make a dramatic departure, some for the better, some not always for the better. Uncharted 2, for example, felt more improved over the first Uncharted than 3 did over number 2. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of a scenario here where this game feels like it's an improvement over Rise, but not a drastic one. They've just made subtle changes, but made them in the right areas. And I'm loving it so far. I can't speak highly enough about it. I'm really torn between this game and God of War so far as my game of the year. Sorry, Spider-Man, you're cool, but not that fucking cool.
Right. I agree completely on that.
My 2 choices so far, because they really, you know, delivered on a lot of scale. So I'm just going to say, guys, if you like Lara Croft at all, if you like a great action adventure game, you love the last 2, or you're even looking to get into the series, do so. You don't need to play the last 2 to even enjoy this one. For those people who might be asking, like, do you need to play not really. The story has a little bit of cohesion there, but it is sort of a separate one on its own. The only difference is this game doesn't hold your hand as much starting up, because they've assumed that you already know like how to play the game, because a lot of the abilities that you sort of acquired over the course of the first 2 games are sort of present and ready to go in this one. So that's a bit. I'll shut my big yap. Want to say Shadow of the Tomb Raider is fucking excellent and deserves praise. Go get it.
Thank you very much, Noof. That was pretty passionate. I can appreciate that. Me personally, I don't know where the hate is coming from. Maybe because some people felt a little miffed because the last game, it was very centered on Microsoft before that. And I don't know, maybe people just are holding a grudge to that. I don't know. I'm not seeing a whole lot of I see a lot of Xbox fans liking the game. I'm just not seeing a lot of PlayStation people really hyping up Tomb Raider like they were with Spider-Man. I just find it interesting. People are talking about Spider-Man. I'm sure it's a good game and all. It's just I see these sales comparisons going on, and I don't think it's fair because they're two completely different games. But Primal, what are your thoughts on this whole Tomb Raider thing? What are your impressions? How do you think? Do you think it's getting a fair deal with the reviewers, or what's your take?
Pretty much this is the reason why I don't really base anything off of reviews. I think this game is absolutely beautiful. I haven't had any issues with the mechanics. I haven't been able to stop playing this. I'm accidentally over like 80% complete, and I'm already excited for my new game. Plus, story-wise, I don't want to spoil anything, but to see Lara and her character growth throughout the game is fucking fantastic. And this might be my favorite out of the 3 that have been released. And I really think that this could be Game of the Year. This feels like Tomb Raider. Like the other 2, they were pretty decent, and it was mostly combat based. There was a lot of fighting, but this, I'm rating Tombs. I feel like the only thing missing are my 2 magnums, but I'll be okay with it unless they come out with it in the next game. But I'm just like, I am absolutely amazed by this. I'm not seeing or feeling what some of these negative reviews have given. And that makes me question, is it biased before going in? Have they ever played a Tomb Raider before? Do they even play games like this at all, period? Were their eyes open? I'm not so sure. But I absolutely love this. They did such a great job. I am completely impressed. I'm actually rating Tombs as I speak. But I seriously cannot put this down. It's just the atmosphere of it, the feel of it. Somebody said that it was too jungly. You're in the middle of a fucking jungle. Like, how many jungles have you been in? Like, are you taking measurements? Like, what the fuck is going on? It's just, this feels like how Tomb Raider should have been. I'm not saying that the first 2 weren't good. They were fantastic. I absolutely love them. But the development of what Lara Croft should be and has been in the past is now a lot more established now than it was before.
A shout out to Timothy Dixon in the chat, who said something very interesting. He was referring to me. He said he was planning on waiting a couple of weeks for Tomb Raider, but after Destiny 2, but he was watching me stream it the other night, and because of my stream, he went out and picked it up. So kudos to you. Great buy. Cool. But that's another reason that I love streaming, and I also like watching various streamers, because sometimes when you're riding the fence on a certain game, streams can make it or break it. More often than not, I think they usually influence gamers to pick it up. So kudos to you, Timothy, and kudos to everybody in the chat, guys. Indie Gamers here, Shizno, Elite, Lunch Bizzles in the chat. We got a lot. Dreadpool is here. Kudos to everybody for showing up, guys. We appreciate it. Anyway, didn't mean to cut anybody off. Let's throw it back.
No, that was great, Noof, always. It's like, don't get me wrong, the like reviewers, these journalists are allowed to have their opinions, don't get me wrong, but Primal, it's like when you say, too much jungle or too much of this, too much of that, it kind of leaves me scratching my head, But yeah, Proto Foxy, have you played it? Do you plan on picking it up? Do you like what you've been seeing? What's your thoughts?
I haven't played it yet, so I'm there with you, Invader, on that whole thing where it's just I haven't gotten to it yet. I am gonna pick it up. I've been watching streams. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to Noofs yet, but I will, because I just keep checking them all out. Just because there's just so much behind it, and I just keep telling that I need to give Tomb Raider another chance, starting with the first the reboot or whatever, and I'm going to. I'm gonna do the thing, and I'm just gonna buckle down and get it, But everything I'm seeing is really good. I mean, I don't understand. I'm with everybody. I don't understand the negativity. Like, too jungly, it's like, okay, really, we're getting nitpicky here. And to riff off of what Noof was saying when he went into talking about comparing
too much bush, god damn it.
Maybe in the 70s that wouldn't be so much an issue, I guess. I'm not sure. But No, to kind of riff off of what Noof was going on when he went into reviews about Halo and how Halo like graphically evolved. But see, there's a, in going into what you were talking about, like familiarity with the games, like, oh, there's too much of the same. It's like, but hey, like you said with Halo, Halo did the same thing. Yeah, it got prettier as it went along, but man, you walked into any of those games and it's like you knew what you were doing. And that seems like that's the case here. It's like you played those, the other Tomb Raiders. You walk into this one, yeah, there's enough new to keep you enthralled, but it's still familiarity. Isn't that what we kind of want from our games? We add new stuff, but we don't want to completely just shift gears 360 on everything. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm playing... Yeah, exactly. If I'm playing a sequel to a franchise that I happen to enjoy, you're going to throw something at me out of left field. Like all of a sudden you're going to spring anal in the bedroom. It's like, no, wait a minute. What are we doing here? This isn't my game at this point.
Hell,
you know what I
mean? No.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, the no fingers in the butthole here. We don't play that around here.
I thought you were supposed to do, but okay.
Yeah. But that's my point. It's like I think it's the people that are trying to be negative about this game are really just digging to find things that are negative. And that's what doesn't make sense. Just enjoy it for what it is. If you don't like the game, so be it. But don't be throwing things at walls just to see if they're going to stick, just to kind of deter the game from being successful. That's so stupid to me.
Well, here's the thing though, Foxy. The thing is, some of these review places I'm almost starting to think almost basically do a bad review to get more views to their site, because if everybody else is throwing good reviews at it, like some of these sites, they're getting pretty desperate these days for hits, right? So they're like, let's throw up that one review that'll get more attention for us by throwing a negative at it than probably if we said, oh, this game is fantastic and people ignored it. You know what I mean? So maybe there's a little bit of that going on too. Who knows?
Oh, I absolutely agree with that statement. It was like I said, a couple episodes ago, controversy creates cash. That's that whole Eric Bischoff mantra. It's what you're going to do. It's, in this case, it is creating cash because it's creating hits to your website. And then, of course, that's going to turn into money, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I definitely see that. It's, and you see that with almost any reviewer. You're going to have that one reviewer who's going to be controversial, who's going to rate a AAA title that's getting rave reviews, a horror, give it a mediocre review. Just, oh, hey, look at me. I'm edgy. Look at me. I'm controversial. No, you're just being a jackass at this point.
Yeah, they're sitting around a round table and the guy's like, we're going to throw out the review this month for Tomb Raider. Who wants to do it? And then everybody puts up their hand. It's like, no, I'm going to take the one person who's never played a Tomb Raider game, has no affliction for the series, and probably doesn't care for action games too much. That person's doing it. Boom. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And, again, anyone can have an opinion. It's fine. Journalists, people on YouTube, whatever. It's just, when you have people in power like journalists, they're huge influencers, and what they say kind of carries some weight. And you just see some trashy articles that you're like scratching your head at, like, what the heck? I remember I saw just earlier today a Tomb Raider review from Polygon. I was just left scratching my head. And when you get articles like, oh, what was it on Kotaku a week or so ago? Something about no, Master Chief's suit doesn't jerk him off. Like, it just no. But
yeah, I actually read that article, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, but you get like weird articles like that. It's like, okay, you guys, you're not like bringing us news. You're talking about like really, really random stuff like that. Like, come on, like give us some rumors and stuff, not like,
not clickbait.
Not clickbait. And that's, it's weird. It gets a little weird like that. But yeah, no, that was good talk on that, guys. I think I'm definitely looking forward to playing some Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The more I see of it, the more I want to play it. So I think I will pick it up soon. I'll admit, like Forza Horizon 4, I'm kind of focused on at the moment, but I definitely want to pick up Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So with your glaring impressions and reviews, I think I will pick it up sooner than what I thought. Moving on, we're going to move on to Nintendo. Now, a few days ago, Nintendo released, as we were talking about earlier, a new Nintendo Direct. And I thought they had some pretty cool announcements. Like, I was excited to see Luigi's Mansion 3 announced. Like, that kind of came out of nowhere. new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. I mean, that's kind of a nice move there on their part. And a new Animal Crossing revealed. I was wondering when that was going to get shown off. However, the most interesting part of the Direct was when Nintendo was finally talking about their Nintendo Switch Online and how it was going to work. And the Nintendo Switch Online, it's Nintendo's new paid subscription service. With it, you get to play online. I think you get access to a very, very small, limited amount of Nintendo classic games. And finally, cloud saves. However, it seems to be that if you let your subscription for it expire, then it immediately, your cloud saves they'll get erased. Like, what kind of crap is that? I'm really wondering what the heck Nintendo's doing. What are your guys' thoughts? I'm pretty sure you guys have some interesting takes. And Noof, I'm gonna start with you. So let her rip, my friend.
Nintendo, what the hell are you doing? Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know what rocket science department they're hired at Nintendo, but boy, can these guys just screw up everything. Like, how can you be so back-asswards in this day and age, and do sort of like go the opposite route of everything that everybody else is doing and then just kind of screw it up? I mean, come on. If you're going to use cloud save data stuff, that's great. But basically, if you don't keep subscribing, you lose the data. Like, what kind of shenanigans is that shit? Like, I don't know. Like, and then I'm almost at a loss for words at this point, because it seems like every time I gain 1 ounce of hope in Nintendo, then some idiot comes along and screws it all up. And like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that I question. I mean, I love the fact that they took the gamble with the Switch and made it portable, but you know, there's things like the fact that they put virtually no memory in the console. There's lots of things like that, and this whole online stuff, and still having to use the phone to do a chat or a message type system. That still baffles me to this day. Like, who the hell is going to sit there by their console and pick up their damn cell phone? You're going to drain your battery life in your cell phone too, right? You know what I mean? And hopefully you got Wi-Fi, because your data plan might go through the roof. You know, and send messages, and then now with the cloud saves, and I mean, right now they're only bringing out NES titles. I hope to God that's also going to improve, because I mean, how many times can we play Super Mario Brothers 3 or Bubble Bobble or any of those games from the old?
I know how much you want to. I know how much you want to Ice Climbers. Come on.
I mean, exactly, right? I mean, some people, yeah, you never get sick of the classics, but I don't know. Like, to me, I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I'm just too frustrated to talk. And Nintendo they just keep blowing my mind with the stupid type of decision making they have, and it just makes me wonder, like, are they so die hard for money, or like, what's the deal with these guys? I just don't know. Somebody else can weigh in, but I'm kind of baffled here.
Yeah, you know, Nintendo is such a weird company. Like, they have such great games that they show off a lot of the time, and then when it comes to their hardware, their software, it just feels so left behind in comparison to the other consoles. Like, I think for cloud saves, for example, PlayStation, you can have it for 6 months if your PSN expires. I could be mistaken if somebody wants to correct me. And then Xbox, you have it for the entire time, the lifetime. So I'm just kind of, you know, for a console that you can carry with you, it's portable, and you're not making the cloud saves accessible. It doesn't make much sense.
Nintendo treats their back catalog of games like their old grandmother who used to be a hooker when she was young. And the kids asking Granny, like, "Hey, Granny, is your old veg dried up yet? Because I think you're good for another $5. Come on, let's bring it out of you."
Yeah,
get out there and work that corner, Granny.
Woo! All right, Mr. Proto Foxy, how do you feel about this? What's your thoughts? I know you're a bit of you've been keeping an eye on this.
Yeah, you know, because we were talking prior to the show going live. I did take in the Direct, and I was impressed up until the online stuff. Like, there was a lot of positives about that Nintendo Direct, game announcement wise. You know, Luigi's Mansion 3, I was just like, that came out of left field, and you know, I happen to be a fan of the original, and you know, I'd put up a picture when I was updating Warframe, that I was playing Luigi's Mansion while waiting for Warframe to update, and it's just like that And, that announcement actually prompted me to break out the GameCube to play that title just in anticipation. And, the other ones like Animal Crossing, when, whoever thought that they were going to dust that one off again? That was so cool. Like the game announcements were great. There was a lot of good in the game announcements. That Capcom beat 'em up pack. Again, we were talking before live. I'm super excited to see Captain Commando come into this pack. That's a game that you didn't get to see a whole lot of love as far as beat 'em ups going. I thought it was a great game. But when it comes into the online is when that whole thing took a nosedive. And yeah, I completely, thanks for bringing it up, Noof. I completely forgot about the whole using your smartphone to chat. It's like, really?
Yeah, no, they
kind of Bluetooth headset. I mean, how difficult is that? I mean, I've said it before. It's like, yeah, we get it. Nintendo marches to the beat of their own drummer, but at this point, the beat needs to change. As far as that kind of stuff goes, it's like you got to hit on your hands with the Switch. It's a pretty revolutionary console. Let's not mince words. It can do a whole lot. And you would love to see Nintendo actually take advantage of that, but it just seems like, just like Noof said, they're just ass backwards about a lot. Their whole online service is just so archaic to begin with, and then you're gonna make people pay for it at this point because let's face it, we've been getting it for free with Nintendo forever now. And now you're going to make people pay for it. You're going to, add in this cloud save, which then it's like, okay, if your subscription lapses, say goodbye to all your cloud saves. It's like, really? I mean, is this like the Sega channel back on the Genesis where it was like it didn't save any of your download games? Does anybody remember that? Like at all? Nobody does. Back in the day, the Sega Genesis introduced the Sega channel, and it did it through cable, but it allowed you to download games and play games. But the thing is that it didn't save them. Every time you turn that console off, they were gone. It's like that immediately hit me the same way with this cloud save. It's like, okay, so my subscription lapses, I'm going to lose it. Dear Lord in heaven, why would you even use it at that point? You know what I mean? It's just so mind-boggling that they can have so many hits and then end on such a nosedive as far as their online service, and especially considering now that they're going to make you pay for it. Yeah, it's definitely not worth it at that point. And then the whole, hopefully they do expand the back catalog, because them getting rid of the eShop for your classic titles, that's a mistake. That's flat out a mistake. And then you're only starting off with just NES titles. It's like, we had all this on the Wii and the Wii U already. Why are we starting backwards? It just makes zero sense.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, the thing is, it's a cheaper subscription service. I think it's what, 20 or $25, something like that. So it's definitely cheaper than the other ones. But at the same time, it's like, you're not getting very much at all. I mean, I was just playing Mario Kart like a few days ago for free online. Like, I mean, I'm not really seeing a big improvement anywhere else. It's like, okay, so you're holding online hostage now. So now you're just like the other guys, and all we're getting is cloud saves, and you're basically holding them hostage. For $20.
And there's no, I could care less if the online service was $10. There's no incentive, especially considering that since the Wii, we've been doing this for free.
Exactly. And I've been hearing rumors about them possibly introducing an achievement system, which, hey, me personally, I would love to see an achievement system on the Switch, or like that would get me to play it a little more, I think, a little more incentive, and just other things that we're just kind of accustomed to. I think Nintendo needs to wake up. But moving on to who's next? Stinky Baby. What's your thoughts on this matter, my corpsey friend?
I really don't have a whole lot to say about Nintendo because I don't have a Switch, but I will say they do some questionable things sometimes. And this is definitely one of them on the cloud saves, because like, everyone's kind of brought up before, you kind of lapse your subscription or whatever. Everything that you've saved is just fucking gone. And I mean, really? And then the smartphone thing, you're using that. I don't know. They just do questionable things. And it's sad because, I mean, Nintendo has such a great catalog of games that's built them from the old days, and then they just kind of someone somewhere has these strange fucking ideas. Hey, let's do this. Use your fucking smartphone to do this, and it's like really just do like what PlayStation, Xbox is doing. Have something better, and just fucking. I like the idea of like those NES games, like, but they need to do something about bringing in, SNES, all the other games too, because I mean, like said, yeah, you can only play Balloon Fight or Ice Climbers or Super Mario 3, so many different times. And of course, we know Nintendo was slapped a kind of a they were going to do a lawsuit against some of these ROM websites that were that made them take the ROMs off. So to where before you could just play anything on your PC, and now they of these old games. So now it's like Nintendo's like wanting to crack down. It's like, no, if you want to play these games, maybe we'll put them on an online store, maybe we won't. But I don't know what their idea is on like how many of those old NES games they plan on bringing out. But I'll just leave it at, I mean, they just do some questionable shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and we call out everybody. That's the thing, whether it be Xbox or PlayStation. And when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, it's no different. Like, everybody has to be honest and just speak up about this stuff. Otherwise, things won't improve, right? And finally, Primal, what is your thoughts on this matter? I don't even know if you have a Switch or... yeah.
Well, it is now the one system that I do not have, but it was pretty cool to see some of the games that they're going to be bringing. Animal Crossing is very nostalgic. I used to bring my memory card over my friend's house so we could go and visit each other's places, and that was really cool. And I saw Katamari Damacy, which was one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. Oh my gosh, I wish that they would bring that back to the Xbox because they only did beautiful Katamari. I absolutely love rolling up people and children. Yeah, the whole cloud thing, like it was cool. Like I wasn't so sure. I actually did read the article at first with them adding the game, and then the cloud thing, it was like being jerked off, and then you need to pay $20 to finish, or that's it, you lose everything. And it doesn't make sense. How is that beneficial? Don't save on cloud is pretty much what they're telling you, or you're gonna pay for it. Can you imagine if they did that on the Xbox, where if all of your shit was saved on cloud, but if your gold ran out, bye-bye. And then just start over. That would be a whole uproar. Like people would, actually, there are some people who probably wouldn't, but a good chunk of people would not want to be on that system anymore. They have great ideas, and they have not so great ideas. It doesn't make sense to me. That's all I got. It's just, I don't understand.
No,
and a lot of the Switch games too. At this point, a lot of them are just Wii U remasters. You know what I mean? Like they're starting to run out of original stuff already. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny how Nintendo's going about this, and you'd think for a console that's mobile that you can take with you that they would be pushing for more like cloud saves and for it to be more open to everybody. Like really, they're really pushing just to get everybody tied to this paid subscription service, and really like putting a gun to your head and being like, hey, if you don't ante up and renew your subscription, we're gonna take away your cloud save files. So yeah, pay up. No, it's weird. It's weird. And again, Nintendo, it's been brought up. Nintendo, like, they are such a beloved company, but they just they do some very, very weird things that can make people scratch their heads. All right. So moving on. Okay, a few days ago, a demo was released for Forza Horizon 4. Now, you get to sample a whole bunch of races, the different seasons, and you get a feel for like the new location in Britain. Now, I've already sampled this demo a couple of times actually. And panel members, did any of you have a chance to try out the demo? And what did you like and dislike?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. First, I'll start off with the Red Menace, Mr. Proto Foxy. What'd you think? Have you tried it out? Are you interested?
Well, at least you're getting me out of the way quick. I'm interested, but I didn't try it. I just haven't had the opportunity because, of course, I don't own an Xbox One yet, and I just haven't made my way over to Glitches to do so. I'm excited for it because I want to play it, and I'm gonna actually probably get on the horn with him here in the next couple of days. Say, hey, I'm coming over. But I have not, so I really have no thoughts. So mine's gonna be short and sweet.
All right, that's no problem, but I appreciate the enthusiasm anyways. All right, Noof, have you had a chance to check it out yet?
Well, let's just say if we don't hit this 300 people coming to the damn podcast chat here at some point in time, I think the panel is just going to have to save up and get their money for photo proxy to get a fucking Xbox. All right. That's what's going to happen. But yes, I have fucking played it, and I love it. It's a small taste of one big, delicious cake. And let me tell you, I don't know how this developer does it, but they keep pushing that envelope and keep getting better and better. This is the definitive racing game experience, and you don't even have to be the biggest racing game fan in the world because the game offers so much variety, so many different environments, so many different ways to go fast and have fun that nobody does it better than Playground Games. They really took that Forza engine, are pushing it to the max. The cars look magnificent. There's so much choice. The world looks staggeringly crazy in every which way and form, and I'm pretty sure if you live around Edinburgh in that area of the UK, that has got to be pretty amazing to basically race around areas that you know in real life. It is just stellar. Download this demo, you won't regret it, and make sure you pick this game up when it comes out, because honestly, I think it's about time that a racing game could take Game of the Year, because this shit has got credential, and honestly, I think this could be one of the games, I think by the time it's finished, said and done, it could be one of the games closest to a true 10 that come out this year. Mark my words, this is an amazing game. The demo is just a small slice, but boy, it was hella awesome. Go check it out.
All right. Let's see, Stinky Baby, have you tried it out? Have you tried the demo? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh yes, I've played it. Basically everything Noob said. It's the game. It looks great. It plays great. I don't have anything negative to say about it other than it's just the demo. It gives you, you play autumn, you play, winter, spring and summer, and just experiencing those different events. It's just like, I've played it, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 times through or whatever now. And I'm not really a racer fan, but that game, just seeing it at E3, seeing what it looks like, what you get to experience, and then playing that demo and then giving you the taste of that. And then, after you kind of play and then do some, you can do some races, or you can just, wander around. It's fucking awesome. I'm definitely excited about the game coming out here in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. It's I'm even starting to get a little puddle going on just hearing you guys talk about it. And speaking about puddles, which I'm sure will turn into a little lake in a minute, Primal, have you had a chance to sample the demo, or are you interested? What's your take?
I haven't yet. I'm not really huge into racing games, but it looks absolutely beautiful. Like, it would be a disservice to not try it out. I'll probably give in. Plus, I also feel like I have Daz drilling it into my head on a daily basis. So if any of you guys are in that chat, you know what I mean.
No, whatever are you talking about? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great, and just from hearing how everybody has been enjoying it, I have to play it. It's something that needs to be done. So,
oh yeah,
right.
And
crack in the Cadillac, let's rock and roll.
No, honestly, Primal, like okay, I've tried the demo. I've tried it a couple of times. And honestly, my thoughts on it, I really enjoyed it, even though it is a demo, but they give you a pretty good sample size. The seasons are what really get me. The seasons are cool. Like, specifically the autumn and spring seasons, like, they are just wicked in my opinion. Just the different colors and the lighting effects and everything. Like, it is nuts. Like, to see the improvement from the first Forza 2 at the beginning of the generation, then 3 to this, it is, oh, like I know this is just a demo, but it looks great. And look, I've been to Britain. I've been like around Scotland, Edinburgh and stuff, and like to see like these towns recreated the way that, well, not recreate exactly, but just being a British developer too, they made it well. Like it's definitely as green as you see it in the game. Like the stonework is very similar. Like they made a very, very believable world, even if it is a hyper realistic in a lot of ways. No, it is good. They did a really good job. I can't wait to get my hands on the game. And even the stunts, there's like a new type of stunt, which I wasn't really expecting, but they have like now like these movie set stunts, and it's kind of like a little,
ooh,
yeah, it's kind of like introduction of like, well, no, it's interesting because you're on like a movie set, and like they're getting you to do all these different stunts, and it's just like a little addition of little story elements, I guess you could say, to it, and just little things like that really, because they get you. There's this director directing you to do all these things in like a Bugatti Veyron, and wants you to jump through a windmill and just different things, and it's very cool the way that they have it laid out. So it's like the little mini story elements in a way, little side quests, which is I think is really cool. And yeah, no, it's fun what I played so far. It's great. I can only say good things about. However, I will say that I didn't really care for the avatar selection in the game. I know it's a minor gripe, but like, and maybe this is just from the demo itself. Maybe we got more options, but I really wish that we could fully customize our driver at this point. Like, I kind of thought like the models weren't that great that they had there. And I just, like, to me, it should be more fully fleshed out. That you can actually, like, you know, dress up your character the way that you want. I mean, I think you might be able to do that in the full game, but just to like customize like the face and stuff, like I think they should give you more options in that respect. But otherwise, the game itself, the racing is sharp, and just from the demo, there's a lot to look forward to, guys.
It's probably because most of the time you really don't see your avatar in a driving game, so perhaps they didn't want to kind of overdo it, because there's some people that will care about it, but there's a lot of people who are like, you know what, just give me a guy or girls, throw a color on them and slap them in a car and let's roll, right? You know what I mean? So maybe that's part of the deal. But to those people, like, the thing is with driving games, right, there still comes a really weird stigma, because most people associate driving games with either Gran Turismo or, you know, the Forza series, the main one in terms of Forza 6, Forza 7, where it's track racing, right? And this is something a lot of people are like, well, you just race around the same old track, kind of do the same old thing. And this is where people who've never played Forza Horizon need to jump in, because you do not just race around the same old track. There are some track races, but even then there's a lot of give and take. There's the way that the tracks are laid out. You don't necessarily have to stay on the same path, and there's not all these big walls to crash into, and you don't get sucked back every time you go off the course and blah, blah, blah. Like it's more open world, you know what I mean? It's a lot more freedom in this type of game to have fun. It's kind of like a little bit of a mix of like a Mario Kart meets a Forza 7, you know, a little bit you know, class and dash and all of it rolled in one. People should at least try the demo before they write it off as another driving game, because it's certainly anything but.
Oh, exactly. And yeah, the reason why I bring it up too is that these games are becoming a little more personable too. It's not just about the cars. Like, I mean, it is mostly, but even something like Forza Motorsport 7, for example, they focused a lot on the driver, you know, like the way you can gear up a driver. You saw a lot of the driver. And now it's like, you know, you're seeing there's more customization stuff coming out, whether it be for the car and even just the character model itself. And I think that maybe in this respect, they could do a little better, but hey, you never know. It's just a demo, right? Yeah. All right, fellas. So moving on, I think this will be our last topic for the evening. Very interesting one at that. So over a week ago, maybe, a little more, in a very surprising move, we found out that THQ Nordic bought the rights to the Kingdom of Amalur IP. And I know Glitch, I think, wanted to talk about this the week before, but we went over time. And this was a game that had a lot of high hopes. It sold decent for a new property. I think it got released back in 2012, 2011, if I'm not mistaken. But it failed to break even, and eventually the studio, 38 Studio, they had to shutter. And I always thought that this was an attractive game property. The story and lore was done by like a famed fantasy writer, R.A. Salvatore. The character designs were done by the Spawn creator, Todd McFarlane, of all people. And the music was created by ex-Rare composer, Dev Grant Kirkhope. Now, to me, there's a lot of attractiveness to this property, and I can see why THQ Nordic would make the move on it. Personally, I thought that Microsoft would have got this because it was a very attractive RPG, to say the least. But what are your guys' thoughts on this move? Do you think that THQ Nordic made the right move to buy this property? Let's see who to pick. Proto Foxy. What do you think about this? Are you familiar with this IP?
I not really. I remember I want to say it was 2011 when you were talking. It's one of those 2 years because I remember hearing about it. A couple of buddies of mine actually had played it, and it looked gorgeous. You know, I didn't dive into it. You know, just saw other people just kind of messing with them. Like, oh, this is pretty rad. Maybe I'll come along and check it out. But you know, of course, it just went by the wayside, and it's really interesting that they just kind of tap that IP because it really just kind of comes out of left field. You know, I mean, I'm sure not a lot of people are going to be familiar with it at all, but it would be kind of nice to maybe see THQ Nordic, you know, kind of get it back out there and maybe get it, you know, maybe put a bit more promotion behind it, you know, and make the awareness there, because it seemed like it would be one of those games that would almost be like a sleeper hit in that sense, and it just didn't have its time to do even that, you know what I mean? So yeah, so maybe THQ can get it out there and at least do it proper, at least with any kind of release, even if it's just a remaster, because the game itself seemed pretty solid.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't play it myself, but I heard a lot of good things about it from friends I knew who picked it up. It always, the world itself that was created just seemed so, just a very interesting fantasy world. I was always curious as to who was going to eventually pick it up.
Right. And yeah, like I said, I'm with you. You know, friends had, you know, a couple of friends had it, and it, like I said, it seemed pretty choice, but just never got around to it. It was one of them things that just kind of fell off the radar. So who knows?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's interesting because EA had originally published this game, and I don't know if they're allowed to do a remaster because I think they still retain some rights to that.
Okay, yeah.
And you know how EA is these days.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
No, exactly.
The devil.
Well, they may as well be in the gaming world.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Stinky Baby, what are your thoughts on this? And did you ever play this game?
No, I never did play the game. I do remember seeing it different times, going places. From what like I said, yeah, I think we were going to talk about this last week, and I looked it up, watched some videos on it. From what I'd seen, I guess the game was pretty kind of underrated, and I think for the most part, it probably came out really before its time that it should have. The videos that I watched, the game looked pretty solid. So all I can really say about it, with really not knowing much of it, that that hopefully maybe that was their intent, that at eventually maybe remaster the game or do something, bring it back out there and do something with it, and maybe it could be what it was meant to be when it came out in 2012.
Well, maybe it would be nice. I'm very curious to see what THQ Nordic does with it, because they've been slowly growing again, and it's if I remember correct, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but this was a pretty pricey IP to buy because it was retained by the state of Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because of the studio, because of it not making money or whatever. Yeah, they I don't know.
Wow.
There's something about it. You'd have to look it up. I remember reading that and I'd forgot about it. But yeah, they owed the state some money, and it kind of they had to buy out of that. So
yeah, it was a weird situation. I even think, wasn't Kurt Schilling involved in this game too?
Yes. Yeah, he was involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of a wacky situation with the IP. I mean, I can understand why some developers wouldn't want to be interested in it, because it sounded like there was there was some tape to go through for sure. But I always found this to be an attractive IP. Now, Noof, did you ever
Yeah, I did play the game. I was actually a bit of a fan of it, but I never did get to beat it. But it was really good. The game had a lot of Fable vibes to it, but it also had, graphically, it had a bit of a style similar to Fable, but at the same time, it felt like a little more fully fledged, more of an RPG. Had some, great story elements in it and stuff like that. I think it was one of the most, I guess, critically. Well, no, I guess critically it was scored okay, but it was one of the most commercially, I guess, overlooked or underlooked games, I guess, of last generation. And that's why it has a cult following. There's some people that bought this and played it and really, really loved it. And by rights, it does deserve to come back in some shape or form. Even if they bring the original game back and remaster it, high definition, maybe fix a few things, it could be a worthwhile investment and definitely a good game to run out and get, especially if, you don't put it at a full priced thing. I think at $30-$40, get fans reinvested in the franchise, maybe bring out a sequel. It was a good buy, obviously, right there to pick up an established sort of game, and hopefully they can find a good developer to take over and lots of games like that come out and kind of slide under the radar for one reason or another. And obviously sales didn't meet expectations. They took a big budget and a big loss, I think, before the game kind of faded, and that's where we're at right now. So yeah, let's hope it returns. I think it's a great little game, and it could, and like I said, it might find life a second time around.
That's correct. Now, I know that they were working on something after like all the DLC, like after the first game was finished off and the DLC. I think it was called Project Copernicus, something like that. Probably the sequel to the game, I would imagine. So yeah, I'm very curious to see who THQ actually gets to work on it. Obviously, since they bought it, they'll want somebody to work on it ASAP, right? Primal, you're an RPG fan. Did you ever get your moistness on this, or what are your thoughts?
I did play it for a little bit. I'm trying to remember because that was a little while ago. I either stopped because it reminded me of World of Warcraft and I had some horrible flashbacks of that, or it might have been because I think Gears 3 came out like maybe 4 or 5 months before that, and that's when I started playing competitively. And so there were no other games besides Gears of War. So I think I actually missed out on something that I would have enjoyed normally. So for them to maybe possibly bring it back and do something with it is very interesting to me. I can't get enough of RPGs. I'm going to try and play all of them as much as possible. So I think it's pretty neat. I have nothing against more RPGs.
Yeah, and I think Noof pretty much nailed it on the head. It does kind of have a Fable vibe to it, like Fable meets World of Warcraft in a lot of ways. Yeah. So, I think there is appeal there. It is a very engrossing world. I can see why it would have a following. I'm just very curious to see where THQ Nordic will take it. It wasn't something that I played, but yeah, I was keeping on tabs on it anyways. I thought it was a pretty cool RPG nonetheless. All right, guys, I'm just gonna throw this out there since we're getting towards the end of the show. Has anybody here played the Blackout beta at all for Call of Duty Black Ops 4?
I have not.
Sure.
I've been trying to. No, seriously, I've been trying to. I got a code the other night, and thanks to Big Germ, I don't know if he's in here or not, and it kept dashboarding me, which has happened before. So I did my whole thing. I cleared my cache, and then I also went and I cleared my MAC address, all that bullshit. I did the whole hard whatever. And then I finally was was able to get in. And I go and pick, I'm just going to call him a character. I picked my character and it froze. I'm like, okay, I forgive you, beta. So I go and I try again, and I couldn't even get into the point where I could pick somebody. So this went on for about, 30 minutes, because I am very forgiving. I do understand that betas aren't always perfect. Yeah, I don't expect anything, but this was bullshit. So I haven't been able to play it yet. I've heard great things about it, but it's Call of Duty. I don't really know what they could do to make Call of Duty better, because it's been the same game, in my opinion. So yeah, that's how I feel about the beta.
Agreed, and I understand where you're coming from. I know for myself, I'm not particularly interested. I've made it clear on previous shows that I'm not like too excited for Black Ops 4. Or I mean, the blackout mode does seem interesting. I'd be willing to give that a shot if the beta ever just opened up. But for me to play it, but I've been hearing a lot of positive things, especially on Twitter. Like people are giving it some pretty good praise. Other than I've been hearing that the armor is a little too much, but otherwise, no, it's been eating away at a lot of people's time. Has anybody else on the panel give it a shot or no?
I can't say that I have. I mean, I'm seeing the same things you're seeing, though, as far as, people being incredibly positive, especially on Twitter about it. But it's Black Ops 4. I can't bring myself to it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't even really consider it Black Ops 4. I just think it's Black Ops 4 in name. It doesn't look like any Black Ops to me. That's a problem.
And that's the thing.
Like, to me, they just should have called it Call of Duty Online. Like, again, nothing against anybody who plays Call of Duty. I mean, I like Call of Duties. Don't get me wrong. I'm not excited for this one. And all the power to you if you enjoy it. Obviously, nobody on the panel seems to have...
I'm just going to sum it up like this. Boom, boom, get that shit out of my fucking room. I haven't played it. I don't want to play it. I don't care to play it. But COD, you get a big no for me. Look at it this way, guys. Look, the thing I love the most about any COD game from the fucking day one since I've been buying these motherfuckers, it's been the campaign. Activision has dipped out on the campaign to bring us a fucking battle royale mode, which I've already told people 100 million times, I don't like this fucking mode. So there's nothing in this game for me. And no, I haven't played it. I know you should give it a try, but that's all right. I know the fuck you know what I mean? Like, I know I don't like certain foods in life either. I don't want to go give it a try. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my cup of tea. So, like, to each their own, okay? To each their own. Cool shit, cool beans. But the thing is, to me, it's also about principle, right? We keep giving fucking Activision money for that cocksucking Destiny game, which you keep ripping people off until a fucking year later. Then you start giving you the shit. Should have been there day one, right? And they're doing it again with Call of Duty. They're doing the same shit over again. They're just taking people for granted. The fucking everybody runs out and buys it. I won't buy it. But then like a day later, it's like, oh, I got the game because everybody's playing it. Well, I ain't fucking playing it, okay? So I ain't going to suck no fucking Activision dick. I ain't gonna suck nobody's dick. Game, I ain't fucking playing it. So there you go. And you can mark my words, I'm not buying it. I don't care if some shithead wants to go and gift it to me. I'll gift it the fuck back to you. Give it to someone who cares, okay? I'll send that shit off to Ethiopia. I don't fucking want it, okay? That's it. COD is done with me until they bring back a campaign. And look, I don't care if they bring it out next year. That's next year. I ain't fucking interested in Call of Duty next year because the next game will be coming out. And God only knows what shit they'll cut out of that one to add another 4 or 5 zombies and another fucking game mode that I still don't give a shit about. There you go. That is my summary tonight. I told you I was going to be lit like a tit. Let's rock.
Yeah, I agree completely, Doof. I'm in that same boat with you, bro.
Drink? Like, yeah, I know I have plenty of moisture around, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for that.
Same goddamn running animations too. Can they not change the guy with the fucking swaggy hips, like the guns fucking going off? Like, come on, even change the fucking animation system. The graphics look like they're the same fucking thing we've seen for 5 freaking years already. Actually, probably 10 years. So, like, change the engine, do it up. You got 3 fucking studios making 3 different games, and they still keep putting out the same turd in a different wrapper, and people keep flocking to it because I guess shit must taste real good around here.
At least Activision shit anyway.
I tell you guys,
myself, you're too much right now.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, Noof, I appreciate the passion. It's just amazing though, because you talk to the people who are really into it. Like, everybody's saying that it's I think somebody in the chat made the comment, it's like a more refined, better quality, almost PUBG in a lot of ways, from what a lot of people are saying. So I don't know, like, it's not my thing, but I guess I can see why some people would be attracted to this, especially when PUBG has issues maintaining frame rates and just other issues. So I can see why people would be a little drawn to this mode from Black Ops in any case. Not my bag. I mean, I'm more of a traditional Call of Duty fella. I like my campaign. I like, having a co-op mode and just the standard multiplayer. But hey, say la vie. All right, fellas, unless you guys on the panel have anything else to add, I think we're at the end of our show. And, oh, man, really, time does fly when you're talking about all these gaming topics. Whew.
It does, and then when Noof catches fire, I think we just need to start bringing up Call of Duty every show just to hear Noof rant. It's great.
Oh, well, hey, the man's passionate. When you got Big Kahuna here in the room, things start to explode.
Look, dude, I'm passionate because I do love the franchise. It's just, the last time I really cared was probably after Modern Warfare 2. And then after that, it just felt like somewhere along the lines, Activision made a ton of money with this franchise. And they said, let's milk the shit right out of it. Not only now that we need to wait a couple of years in between, but let's get one every year. Let's get a new team to do the game. Like, when you have 3 teams doing a game and you're making as much money as Activision, can you not afford to take a year or 2 off, let the franchise breathe, bring it back bigger and better with a fucking campaign that will knock people's socks? Like, when was the last time a Call of Duty game actually got referenced in terms of a game of the year? Yeah, it's gotten some multiplayer accolades, but when was the last time it came out and people were talking about that in the game of the year conversation? That should tell you something right there, because you know what? I go back and look up all the reviews and all the talk that surrounded Modern Warfare when it first came out. It was part of that conversation, but somewhere along the lines, Activision are greedy fucks that they are, just taking this shit to the bank. Poor developers, you know what I mean? Like, they must be getting sick of this now, like Bungie was getting sick of Halo, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we got to do another Call of Duty again. Like, that's what we're destined to do for the next 20 friggin' years of our lives, right? So, like, give the franchise a break, just like, well, Ubisoft tried to do with Assassin's Creed up until this year and decided to bring it back again. It's like, there's another one. Let's get on a rant for another day. But anyway, that's it for me, because I'm rolling on. But I do love Call of Duty, and that's why I'm a little bit heated and passionate, because I want the series to come back, but I want it to come back bigger and better. I want it to blow me away for a change, and not just be this big multiplayer fucking jerk fest that it's turned into.
Oh, yeah, and see, I'm right there with you, man. I totally agree. The last time a Call of Duty wowed me was the original Black Ops, so
yes.
I'm right there with you. It's the cow's dehydrated at this point. Yeah, you need to give it a break for, a good couple of years and then come back and knock everybody's socks off with a complete game. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Are the fans asking for a Call of Duty game every year, or is it the stock ending? That's the difference between the two, and I'm willing to bet it's the latter.
Oh, I agree.
You're out.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll be curious to see we know Infinity Ward is probably working on a Call of Duty. I'd like to see them try make something else, but I got a feeling, what's the rumor? Something about Modern Warfare 4 possibly? Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think they're just going to continue churning out Call of Duty. I mean, I don't know. I hope it can return to its roots in a way, but I don't know. It's getting a little much. That franchise could definitely use a couple of years break just to, let things kind of settle and let people be able to miss it for a change, right? At least with a game like Halo, for example, I see them doing both a mix of new and old things, and I see them always upgrade the tech for it. I always see it, like, at least a lot of things get better eventually, and I can see 3 years worth of work in it, whereas opposed to Call of Duty is kind of like same assets, just some new guns or new campaign, and just different things. And then this year it's like a totally different curveball they've set up. So
it's like Resident Evil, right? They took a little bit of time, then they came back and they had Resident Evil 7, which was completely different than any other Resident Evil game, but it actually is one of the most successful Resident Evil games, oddly enough. So there you go, right? Like, take a page out of their book and try something new if it takes that. There's lots of things I'm pretty sure you can do with the franchise. Sure, like Battle Royale is cool. There's a lot of people on that train right now and they love it. And kudos, like, if people look at the end of the day, it's your money. Buy what makes you happy, and if buying that game makes you happy, then so be it. I just know that I'm going to stick my money elsewhere, and it won't be on Battlefield 5 either, because I'm not ready to go back to World War II either. So there's another missed opportunity. So those are 2 games that won't be in my collection this year. Hate to piss off or disappoint any fans and be like, Noof, I wanted to play that game with you, because I won't be playing it. I'll be playing something else.
Well, I'll say this. I tried Infinity Warfare when they had like a free play weekend, and I actually liked Infinite Warfare, but I just felt it should have been a new IP. It felt like a new IP to me, in all honesty. Like, I don't know. It's weird. The things that they're doing with Call of Duty nowadays, like, just let your devs experiment and do some different things. Otherwise, things get stale, and now it's really stagnant, and it's a shame. It's a real shame because I used to really love Call of Duty. Like Proto Foxy said, Black Ops, the original. Oh man, between that and Halo Reach, I would be playing that nonstop.
And as a matter of fact, I think that year that those two were out, I think that's all I was playing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a big year. Like
it was.
2010. I remember that was a big year for that generation. That was huge. Like between 2007 and 2010. Oh man, massive. But it's interesting where Call of Duty's going. Like it's interesting to see the reactions to the blackout mode. I'm glad to see some people are liking it, but again, like it's not my cup of tea. I'm not into the whole battle royale thing. So whoever likes it, hey, all the power to you. That's great, but I'm kind of old school in my Call of Duty. What can I say? But anyways, I think that brings an end to episode 20 of the Game Dosage. And hey, I would just like to thank everyone in the chat for listening and participating in the chat for all our Game Dosage shenanigans. Because, man, I know we go a little off track sometimes. And you guys are fantastic. And we appreciate everyone that shows up for the show. Brian Baker, Mel, Xbot. Hey, thanks for coming out, guys. Indie Gamer. All you guys, it's been amazing. Fastback, so on. Like, we appreciate it when you guys show up. And let's start getting with some outros. Stinky Baby, what's your outro?
Bonerman 69. You can find me on YouTube, Xbox, and Twitter at Stinking Corpse. This will be a little bit. Sundays, if anyone didn't know, I'm a part of Coffee Casuals and Consoles. I couldn't be there yesterday because I had something that I had to attend. Then, of course, Mondays, you find me here on the Game Dosage Podcast. Tuesdays is Retro Renegades with Supersonic Station, which, please, if anybody has a code for Shadow of the Tomb Raider or want to buy the game for him, please get Supersonic Station that game, because he is just he's tweeting anybody and everybody. And so Wednesdays we will have a random return of the Daz cast on Fastback's channel. So anyone wants to check that out, that should be a damn good show. And then of course I believe Thursday we're also having the WDFC. And then whenever I do a random 4+ hour corpse cast, which is coming up due sometime soon. So I just haven't figured out which weekend I want to do it. But that's pretty much it. And PlayStation X, Stinkin' X.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Daz is doing that reminds me, Daz is doing a return of the Dazcast, a special episode Wednesday. I should be there along with many others, like Stinky said himself, of course. So there'll be a few guests there, and it should be an interesting show. All right, moving on to the Moist Miss Primal Eve. Let's hear the outro.
I think she left.
We lost.
Where did she go?
She slid on out of here.
She slid.
She paddled her way out of here. Dang. Alrighty.
All right.
Well, in that case, all right. Proto Foxy, you're next.
You find me here on Mondays. You can find me on the PlayStation Network as Happy Emo Puncher. You find me on Steam as Wicked Lance. Twitter, you're going to find me as Foxy Proto. On YouTube, you're going to find me as Proto Foxy. Thanks for everybody being here today and checking this out. I, along with the rest of us here, obviously appreciate your presence and glad you tune in. It's been a great damn time as always.
All right, that was beautiful from the red menacing machine himself.
I love that.
I know you do. All right. I think we got Primal back. Primal.
Yes,
There she is.
I'm here.
She slid back in.
Sliding away.
Oh my goodness.
Does that rant really make the room that moisty and hot or what?
Must be.
All right, Moist Miss, let's hear the outro.
Alrighty. If you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter at Primal Eve. I am also on the Xbox Also Primal Eve, but with 2 words. And now you can follow me on the PlayStation as Primal Eve. So I'm multi-plot now.
She's everywhere.
Hooray!
And now she has to deal with Ubisoft for Far Cry Primal Eve. All right. And of course, how can I forget this bombastic fella? Mr. Noof Nukem. Let's hear it, fella.
Boom, boom, kaboom. It's Noof leaving the room for another night. Yes, time to shut my pie hole and take control of my controllers, get playing some games. You guys know where to find me, though, guys, outside of Monday nights with this amazing cast of characters, minus Jago and Glitcher tonight, which too bad they couldn't make it, but for obvious reasons they could not. But I'm sure they'll be back next week, hopefully. But yeah, you guys, you can find me at Noof Nukem. That's on Xbox Live. And I do have a new account on my brand new PlayStation 4 Pro PSN, and that is Noof Nukem, all one word, 76. Okay, so it's all together. Noof Nukem. You can find me or find one of your friends. They might have me added already, all that good stuff. Hope to see you on there and play some games, although I do have to get a PlayStation Plus subscription, I suppose. Otherwise, I can't play diddly squat outside of Fortnite, which I won't be touching with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, so there you go. That's it for me tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for everybody coming out in the chat. And don't forget to spread the love and spread the word, because if we get to 300, we will give away a console. That is a fact. Take it to the bank. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. You're awesome as always. We'll catch you in the next one.
300. This is Game Dosage. Now, yeah, and of course, you know me, Invader. You can find me, of course, on here on this channel, Invader Gaming, and Twitter at Invader_1986. And yeah, guys, we'll be out. It's been beautiful. And in the words of our friend Glitcher, keep a tight ass and have a good night.
Ooh, oh, yeah.
All right, later, fellas.